This is part 2 out of 4 of the Parametric Swinging Chair tutorial. In this part, we'll build the chair itself. To generate the chair, we're going to start with a curve that we're going to turn into planks, and then we're going to generate the armrests. To start drawing the curve, I'm going to add a curve node. And because we're going to be drawing a 2D curve, I'm just going to set the camera to be in the right view. And the one thing I want to do with this is the cross section of the chair. I want to make sure that the actual seating area is on the origin. So I'm just going to draw something like, I don't know, something a bit like this, something that vaguely resembles a chair. You can always improve this later. And from there, I'm going to transform this up, because you obviously don't want you obviously won't want your chair to be sitting inside of the ground. So we're going to have to raise it by an amount, and that sounds like something I'd like to control. So I'm going to go back into my variables node. I'm just going to add a folder here called frame. Just going to set it to simple. And then I'm also going to add a folder and call it seat. Also set that to simple. And then I'm going to add a float and call it seat height. Where the minimum is, I'm not entirely sure yet. So in this transform node, that's what I'm going to paste into the translate y. So now we can, I'm just going to visualize this. We can raise this seat up. Next up, I'm going to resample this curve because we want to place a plank every few centimeters. And right now, all we have are these points. Oh. Right now, these are all the points we have. Oh, I'm just gonna add a fuse to that. That's better. So right now we only have 12 points, or so I thought, which is not great for the spacing. So I'm going to use this resample node, set these to, I don't know, 4 centimeters. And now we can copy a plank to each one of these points to get a chair. So we're going to use another copy to points. Use this as the target points to copy to. For these planks, we're going to make them so we should, let's see, we can make a variable out of this as well. So it's called seat plank height. Where the minimum is 1 centimeter, the maximum is, I don't know, let's say 12 centimeters, but I'm not going to lock that. So I'm going to paste that into the resample. I'm going to paste that into the Y. I know that I'll always want the planks to be thinner than they are high. So I'm just going to take this value, and I think I'll want about 1/4, but I can always play around with that a bit more. And Sorry, this is meant to be going in the Z, not in the X. And for the X, for now, I'm going to use the width of these things. So of this transform one line. So to do that, I'm going to do grab the bounding box of transform one, and then I want the dx size, and let's see how that looks. So very busy. We need to fix the angle of these planks. Need to set this a little bit higher. But it is copying a plank for every single one of these points now. To fix the angle, I'm going to add another pointer angle. Actually, let's see. One thing we know here is that all these points are in order. So what we can do with that information is easily calculate the normal, which is pointing outwards. So I'm just going to make this a detail wrangle because I only want to run this once. Going to grab the number of points. And set up a for loop. So this is going to loop through all the points. But I also want to find the next point. So I'm just going to set up an exception real quick for the very last point. So we can skip over that one for now. But what we want to find out is we want to find the direction from the current point to the next point. So this is our current point position. And this is our next point position. The direction is the normalized version of position 1 minus position 0. So that is just the direction from 0 to 1, for example. And then we want to have the cross product of that to find what is pointing outwards. So we're going to do the cross product of the direction, and the plank should never be able to point into the x direction. So we're going to do that, and then set that point attribute for the current point. We set it to n. And let's see if that did the trick. That seems to have done what I wanted it to. Almost. So right now the planks are rotating in the center, which means that you sometimes get this kind of harsh angle because the planks are originating from the center. So I'm just going to set that center height. I'm going to set that down by half. Oh. And now that should be just a little bit nicer. And then I'm just going to go back here and fix up that very last point. We can declare vector n here instead. I'm just going to set that to this as a default. It will update for every single point other than the last point. And for the last point, the only thing I will do is sets it. So right now what will happen is for every single point in this curve, in this one, we're going to update this direction, but the very last point will just use the value from the previous point. And that seems to work. All right, great. Then next up, we're going to add the armrest. We're going to start by taking this line again. We're just going to transform it down. And we'll want another variable for this called the armrest height. I'm going to include that as part of the seat for now. I'm going to say that should be probably at least 20 centimeters up. And actually, I'll just set this to something, some defaults that are slightly more reasonable. I'm just going to set it to 0.3 for now. So the armrest height is going to be relative to the seat height. So what we're going to do is we're going to, well, we're taking this line, which is the width of our chair. We're going to set that all the way down to the ground at first. So what is this? Minus the current height. And then we're going to add the armrest height. And we're going to also add the seat height. So now we have a line that is at some distance above our seat, and some distance. Yeah, it's all relative to the seat. So what we can do from there, as you might have guessed already, is a copy to points. And we're going to create another box. And the size for these, well, you can do whatever you think looks nice. I'm going to go for let's see. Actually, we have the plank size, so maybe we can take those into consideration. So this one. So this is the width of the armrest. That will always be the plank size plus 4 centimeters, and the depth of this is always going to be, or the thickness of these planks is going to be half. And let's see, the actual length of these, I'm going to set that to be the length of the chair, I think. So I'm just going to grab the bounding box of the curve that we created, and I'm going to take the Z size, and let's see how that looks. Yeah, that's about what I want. There's a bit of an intersection here. We'll fix that in a little bit. I'm first going to add the little support beam as well. So to add the support beam, I'm going to start off very simple by just copying this, copy to points. I'm going to create another box. I want it to be, I want this to be as, yeah, I just want it to be a square that's the size of the, or sorry, a cuboid with the width and depth of the plank. So the X is this. Oh, And then for the height, I want it to be the armrest height plus a little bit. So I'm just going to probably add about 6 centimeters to that, maybe. Yeah, let's do 6, see if that looks all right. But one thing I like to do with the supports is give it a bit of a shear. So going to, in a pointer angle, just say I'm going to create a variable actually called shearing, and depending on its Y position, I'm going to add to its Z position. So position.z gets position.y times shearing added to it. So plus equals at p.y times shearing, which is not doing a whole lot. Oh, because I'm not looking at it. All right. Instead of adding this, I'm going to subtract it. Now you can, shear this a little bit. One thing that will stand out is that it's in the completely wrong location. So if I just merge these three so we can actually see this properly, they're in the wrong location at the moment. What I'm going to do is for the position.y, I'm going to add a height offset. The height offset is just going to be the bounding box, the highest point, and I'm going to subtract that. And then let's see, what do I want to do with the shearing amount? I'm going to add to I'm going to add as a variable to this little variables node. Actually, I'm not going to lock this. I'm just default it to. Okay. I think I also want to move the position of this of where it connects forward, depending on how much it's shearing. But I think I want to offset it by half of the shearing amount. So I'm just going to add a transform. On the Z, I'm going to add shearing times 0.5. Oh, times negative 0.5. Still way too much. All right, let's make that a very small amount. Oh, the reason why it offsets so far is because the height of this is nowhere near 1. So maybe, actually, let's take that into consideration. So we are going to offset it by shearing times negative 0.5 times the height of the support. So now if the support becomes a lot taller, it should still not work. Let's see. just trying to think of how I'd like this to work. I think the bottom staying in place, I quite like that, I think, but maybe the top should stay in place instead. I'm gonna leave this like this for now, and if this becomes a problem with the maximum ranges we allow, I will come back and fix it. But oh yeah, I was going to fix the intersection here. I think I'm just going to make the chair, the planks for the chairs, just slightly less long, so it intersects less. So I'm going to shrink them by one width of the support. So if I take the support, which is the seat plank height, then I can go into the X and grab the seat plank height and just subtract that, and then it will all sit just a little bit nicer. There's still a little bit of intersection here that we can fix by pushing these two out, and I'm going to do that by little point wrangle, do p dot x plus equals, because I want to add it to one side and subtract it from the other. I'm again going to use that sign, and I'm going to multiply that by this offset variable, and that offset variable should be about 0.02, which is half the seat plank height, I believe. So let's see if that's correct. Let's see. Yeah, that looks correct. Let's see. It also works on the other side. And now if I adjust these variables, everything should still work. So the seat height is adjustable. The seat plank height is not quite doing what I want there. I'm assuming because I didn't use a multiplier but a normal add. So I'm just going to have a look at that. The armrest, that's working fine, and the shear is also working fine, assuming I don't have any variables that are too extreme. So I'm just going to have a look at what's going wrong here. This was coming from. Okay, yeah, I'm adding 0.04 to this. So what I want to do instead is I want to grab that width. I'm going to subtract the seat plank height and multiply that by 0.5, and that does the trick. All right, great. So right now we have the chair merged. We have the frame merged. I'm just gonna merge those two together. And next up, we will look at the chains.